This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Yeah, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason Glick, what's going on tonight?
Hey, John, my house might burn down in about an hour, but other than that, it's all good.
Do you need firefighters?
They're there. But at the same time, so if I have to if I suddenly cut out for a second, then you'll know the reason. Got it?
Got it.
Got it.
Okay. And also, it's like as you may have guessed, from the people who are here in this chat, it's like, hey, Steve is back. Hey, welcome, Steve. Good to have you back.
Hello again.
Yeah, and Steve's back because not only did he recommend to me the series we're talking about tonight, but he also joined us, talked about it for like a little bit, back when we were doing a dual podcast on Fire Punch and also Chainsaw Man. So, good to have you back, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Yep, same here.
Okay, but it's like, and also I guess it's probably worth warning off anyone who's about to listen to this that we're about to go full spoilers for this series because it's like we've read all 11 volumes. It's like, and yeah, we're all into this series, but at the same time, it's like I really want to talk about what went on in the final volume. So let's just that we like the series, but it's like this is going to go deep into talking about all the stuff that's great about it. That's going to involve spoilers. So that being said, Chainsaw Man is a series from Tatsuki Fujimoto. It's like a guy who did a series called Fire Punch, which is about a guy with incredible healing abilities who was set on fire and tried to become a hero, but had all sorts of issues with being set on fire like years ago as a result. And it's something that we like, for the big risks it took. It's like rather than being like, yeah, it's like it. I think it wound up okay, but at the same time, I enjoyed it more for just stuff that you look at this and go like, yeah, I don't see this a lot in see the kind of stuff that he does in this in mainstream manga a lot these days. I mean, that's some its appeal to you, Steve.
It it'd definitely be hard to sell as a mainline Shonen Jump thing, and I agree with you. I like what they did. It was definitely a lot. It's not very formulaic. I think it breaks the mold a lot of places, and it's probably doesn't have mass appeal, but that's okay. I don't care. As long as it did well enough to continue financing things and keeping the lights on, which it seems to have, because here we are. We have Chainsaw Man, which is has a lot of the same sensibilities, but they filed off some of the rough edges to make it a bit more, give it a bit more mass appeal, as we can see by the fact that it has an anime coming out.
Absolutely, I am thoroughly looking forward to the anime coming from Studio Mappa. The guys who made Dorohedoro and Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like, and I think that like Fujimoto has said, like, hey, it's like these are the guys who made those series, and like this is basically a series that's basically like derivative of both. So hey, this is gonna be great. So I'm all for it, and I'm looking forward to it when it finally comes out. Assuming it seems like it's going to come out in the fall, so we'll see about how that goes. But I think it's crazy that someone at Shueisha basically like looked at Fire Punch, it's like, and basically said, you know what, we want this guy in Jump,
Yeah, I'd say it was a ballsy play, but it panned out, thankfully, for all.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, I mean, this is that's a movie that could have like either just just like self-destructed and resulted in something that like was like a major misfire on the creators and the publishers part, but ultimately seems to have like blossomed into like something that has genuine mainstream appeal. And yeah, I think you're right about the fact that it does file off the rough edges of it's like that Fujimoto displayed in Fire Punch. But at the same time, it's like it's he didn't file them off thoroughly enough that it's like this is like that's like a very safe formulaic Jump manga. No, very Chainsaw Man is a series that it's hails very much from the Fist of the North Star school of stuff that your parents wouldn't want you to read.
Hell yeah.
exactly, because down to just to, like, establish the premise of the series. I mean, it's like it's a tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. Kids fighting like demons, type series. It's like, and the character we're introduced to at the start of the series is Denji. It's like a teen who's like basically press ganged into like killing demons for the mafia because his dad ran up this huge tab with them before he died. And like when he and after he died, the mob basically like told Denji that, hey, you're working for us now. And Denji is basically working with this little devil, Pochita, who's known as a chainsaw devil, to it's like to take out these demons. It's like, and it's like at the beginning of the series, you see that he's lost one eye, he may have lost like additional organs, but he's also just doing whatever he can in order to survive. To his dream is basically like, I can have some good bread. It's like after a job. Like in order, like after things are done. But because he's like being pressed kind of by these yakuza types. Well, it's like they eventually like like offer him up to like the devil that's running them, which turns out to be the zombie devil. It's like, and they said, okay, it's like, we're just gonna like you're just no good to us. We're just gonna like let the zombie devil kill you. They do. Denji winds up some pieces in a dumpster. But it turns out that Pochita, like his little chainsaw devil, like was just so adorable. It's like besides like so much believes in like what in Denji's dreams of just like being able to like have good bread, being able to like talk to a girl. It's like that kind of stuff that he agrees that he basically like makes a contract with them. He wants to see Denji's dreams, and this agrees to become his heart. And so Denji gets to live again, but Pochita is his heart, and there's this little like uh like drill thing coming out. What is it? This little like a knob thing coming out of his heart that he pulls, and he can become the devil chainsaw man. So someone who got chainsaws coming out of his head, his arms, and also spoiler warning, his legs to just like murderize anything that comes his way. And he murderizes the zombie devil pretty good. And that's when and after he's done that, that's when he meets Makima. Makima is the head of the public safety division, the wing of the Japanese government that's dedicated to killing. It's like to controlling devils and just making sure they're not part of the just not inconveniencing like people's lives too much. So and when she comes upon him, it's like she basically like says, hey, want to come work for me? It's like I'll make sure you're well fed, you have a light, like you have a nice place to live. It's like, and Denji's like, oh man, she's so cute. I'll totally do this, man. And there you go. It's like he's got like here we've got the premise of the series established. Denji's gonna go and kill the devils that Makimi asked him to do, and yeah, like the series is gonna like ride the shouldn't jump money train. It's like to the end of the road, which is how it's going to go, right, Steve?
Well, so I should clarify some things. So first of all, she doesn't do it out of the goodness of her heart. It's work for us or die. Secondly, he's working for her as her dog. Um, she
Yeah, but it's
asks
also
him to
it's
respond.
worth mentioning that like his sense of life is just like so screwed up at this point that when she says, yeah, I'm gonna like you're gonna be my dog, he's like, woof.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, she gives. Well, again, to be fair, she gives him two responses that he can give: yes and woof. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it helps that he's willing to do it because hey, hot girl, and he's into that sort of thing. But um, you know, it's not much of a choice that he has. I mean,
Mhm.
he's cool with the choice. It's just he didn't have one. Um, Denji's poor, and I mean, I feel like the author demonstrates that yeah, he's poor, but he's got standards. So, for example, he'll pretend to eat cigarettes for money, right? So
Mhm.
he's desperate, right? He's been selling his organs for cash just to make the payments to the yakuza. But even he's got standards, right? He ain't gonna munch a cigarette. He's just gonna pretend to for
Mhm.
100 yen. Um, so there's that. Um, I like so as you can see by the devil names, right? Like they're simple to understand. There's no allegory or analogies or metaphors going on here. Make it real simple. Zombie devil. What does it do? It makes zombies, right? A gun, there's a gun devil. It shoots things really good, right? There's
The tomato
chainsaw
devil.
man. Yes, and so on, right? Um, they do what they say on the tin, and I think I don't know if there's a proper term for this. Like, is the author's like smart dumb? He's dumb smart. I'm not really sure how to put it, right? Like it's I like that, he just says, "Hey, here's the devils. Here's what they do. Nothing complicated about it. Just here's what they do." Um, the I also like that in the first chapter, the resolution of the final battle is already given away.
When you say already given away, I mean it's like we can assume that like, hey, Chainsaw Man was going to kill all of the zombies,
No,
because
no, no, no. What I mean is specifically the immortals stay dead if eaten. Maybe by him specifically, but you may notice that if you go back to chapter 1, the zombie devil notes that the immortal will stay dead if eaten. And this seems like sort of a throwaway thing, but we may return to this later.
That's a good point because this is like an 11-volume series, and I'm not saying that he planned out every last detail, but this speaks to like he definitely had like some clear plans in mind for like how right for the characters' arcs involved. Yeah.
And it's cannibalism, which is a recurring theme from Fire Punch.
Oh yeah, good old cannibalism, man. It's like it's one of Fujimoto's pet favorite themes.
And yes, I like the motivations for Denji, right? I mean, what's his motivation? Girls. It's relatable, right? It's relatable to the main audience of like the usual audience of Shonen Jump series, right? I mean, fuck yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like I mean, I think what I like best about this series, and it's not just written for actual 15-year-olds, but it's also written for people who are still in touch with their inner 15-year-old, which I think speaks to us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like because otherwise I don't think that the whole his whole encounter with Aki, who with Aki is basically the older like mature like devil hunter type that we encounter in the first volume, and he's basically like we've seen his kind of his like his type of character in Shonen Jump before, but it's like he's just basically like the older brother, the rival type. But at the same time, it's like he he's basically tells Denji like, yeah, you know what? It's like if you're just here, just like just for like the to not actually like fight devils, like then you just get the hell out right now. And what does Denji do? Denji like kicks him in the nuts because hey, it's like I like what I'm doing here. Like Miss Maki was nice to me, and like I only fight when I fight, I just kick people in the nuts. It's like that's it's dumb. It's gloriously dumb because like Fujimoto like, excels at writing this kind of like this kind of like dumb character like, that's dumb in entertaining ways, really. So I mean, it's like so basically like after like he like Denji and Aki fight, like Denji wins, and then like he basically like drags Aki back to Makima, saying like, "Oh man, the testicle devil attacked," so, and it's like like we fought him off. It's like and Aki's like, "No, he's lying." So it's this kind of like this kind of like enjoyably dumb stuff that defines the series, and it's also kind of like colors like the introduction of the other like main supporting character in the series that would be Power, because she's basically an example of a fiend, which is basically like because some devils manifest to themselves, others tend to jump into like human bodies or like more directly interact with with our world, and though they become like fiends that exemplify their trait. Power is the blood fiend. She is the blood devil who jumped into a body, and she's just like hey, it's like I'm Power. It's like I'm so crazy and cute, and you love me. It's like I'm just gonna like like beat the crap out of anyone who's like says otherwise. It's like that's like, and she's just like like and like her and her drive is like, she wants to get her cat back, and so she's going to sell Denji out. But we haven't even gotten out of the first volume yet. It's like, and this is like, how things are going to go. But I really like Power because she's like, so unrepentant about what a total asshole she is.
Yeah, like she leans full into it. She's super overconfident. It's it's a very uh it's a strongly flavored character. I didn't want to say a strong character, but it's a strongly flavored character. You get a real sense very quickly of how she feels about herself. She's the best, and everyone else sucks, and only she's important. And you know the I like that as time goes on. This character growth, and the edges get sanded off a bit.
A bit. This is a bit, because this is the character who basically runs down like what appears to be an innocent devil hunter, and then basically says, "I didn't do it." It's like it was like it was my partner, Kobeni. Like she did it, really, because like this, because like this, like I said, I like this series like excels in just like like setting up stuff, because like you think it's going to be about oh, we're gonna like like take on like the demon devil of the week bit, but no, it's like that kind of like lasts until volume 3, when they encounter the Katana Devil, and because apparently Katana Devil was also a character who was a like who like he was the nephew of the like of the Yakuza who press gang Denji into his like like sorry life, and like then like a whole bunch of people that are like we thought were going to be key to the series die. It's like in volume 3, and it's also worth mentioning that Fujimoto loved ripping down the status quo every 3 volumes in it's like in Fire Punch, and that remains true here. It's like every couple of volumes, like he'll introduce like some new characters, and then they'll die horrible deaths. It's like, and I gotta admit that's honestly kind of refreshing, especially with like a Shonen Jump series, because this is a series that I bought entirely digitally, because like these days when I buy a series, manga series specifically, I get the feeling that it's going to be it's like going to be a long ass series, like say Kaguya-sama, which is going to be finally going to wrap up in volume 26. So with Chainsaw Man, I bought it digitally because I figured, oh man, it's like we're going to be like dealing with volume 70. It's like in like a few years, how it is. But no, this is like 11 volumes, and there are only like a few distinct arcs here. Like there's the hotel arc where like Denji, Aki, Power, and it's like what was the other girl's name, the one who barfs into Denji's mouth.
Himeno.
Himeno, yes. Like when they wind up trapped in the like in the hotel. So I thought, oh man, this is gonna be here for a while. Oh nope, only 2 volumes. And then Himeno barfs in Denji's mouth, because this is Denji's lot in life with girls.
It well, the lead-in's pretty great, because to that particular scene, because you're thinking she's getting flirty with him, and you're thinking, okay, all right, cool, this, he's finally going to get a little action, right? And this is a series that is at times all out action. Sometimes it's really introspective, and sometimes it's fucking just gross out funny. And so you're thinking, he's like, this is what a kiss is like. Why is it all warm and wet? And oh my god, the next panel is her reaching into his mouth. And it's like, whoa, I did not expect that. I thought that was just a fantastic it was a fantastic subversion of my expectations.
Yeah, and it's like the series does a great job of like playing into like our expectations from a Shonen Jump series, but also just kind of like saying, nope, not gonna happen. And I think that's a large part of its appeal. It's like even when it doesn't quite deliver, it's like on this, it's like when Denji finally thinks he's gonna get his girlfriend, it's like Reese, it's like she seems like a really nice girl, and then we're like threatening the idea that, oh my god, like the Typhoon Devil is gonna send this crazy like Mohawk, like half skinned face guy to kill her, and then she murders like Typhoon Devil's agent and reveals that she's like she's a Russian devil who is sent to take out Denji. It's like, damn,
He can't catch a break.
he can't catch a break, and it's like and yeah, it's like it's just that kind of like expectation, like they were setting up that you're setting up to this is how it's going to play out, and nope, not going to happen. But even then, there's some times when his reach exceeds when Fujimoto's reach exceeds his grasp. I liked the fight against Reese, especially when he does his he loses his chainsaw chains to get Beam the Shark Devil to just ride against the Typhoon Devil. It's and the Typhoon Devil's like, nope, this isn't what I was asking, but okay, I'll do it anyway. So, but then at the end when he just grabs Reese in chains, drags her down to the bottom of the ocean. So yeah, you can't explode now, huh? And then the series just cuts to the next day, and they've washed up on the ocean, on the beach, and it's like, oh, okay, sure, let's go. Let's see where you're going there. And I'll admit that the the recriminations where Ree's just says, no, I'm not going to be with you, but then she realizes that okay, maybe he is my best chance for a normal life, and then goes back to she tries to go back to him, and then Makima shows up, and we realize, hey, maybe Makima isn't the best solution that Denji has. It's like when she emerges out of that pile of rats, and then teams with the Angel Devil to kill Reese. It's like you think that, oh wow, it's like maybe Makima isn't as good as she initially promised. That's you kind of got that feeling beforehand because hey, she was saying hey Denji, you're my dog now. But this is when it becomes explicitly clear that she's not a good person. In fact, she may not be even a person at all. Right?
Well, as we find out later, yes, she is. I mean, if we're going to go into,
we're going full spoilers here.
Yes, she's a control devil. Surprise. The Japanese government, like most governments, has decided, what, they need a bit of help. They need a bit of help keeping things under control, and so they've contracted the control devil to do things for them.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably worth mentioning at this point that the devil's name kind of corresponds to their strength. It's like what primal fears do they embody? I mean, Denji is the chain. I mean, he's Chainsaw Man, but he's basically embodying the Chainsaw Devil. And chainsaws, pretty fucking scary if you're on the receiving end of them, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty primal fear.
Yeah, and fearing of control, also as well. Other primal fears, it's like hell, darkness, dolls. I mean, not Santa Claus. I mean, I think it's implied that Santa Claus is a primal fear, but not really.
I mean, it could be for some people.
Yep, because I mean, after the after Reese's storyline, Chainsaw Man's existence is made known to the world, and other countries decide, okay, well, we need to take steps to to make sure this devil is not an issue to us. And so Germany sends their top devil, Santa Claus, who is spoiler warning, major spoiler warning, that he's actually he doesn't know it, but he's actually a subservient to the doll devil. Oh, and also America just sends out a couple of hillbillies to take him out as well. And this is where Power comes in to take one of them out unknowingly, because she just wanted to drive Kobeni's car. And yeah, it's worth mentioning at this point that Kobeni is probably she's the most tragic out of all these, because her thing, to sum it up, is she didn't even want to be here today.
Yeah, she's the most put upon member, and she pretty much just exists to be comic relief as her poor car gets smashed over and over.
Yeah, even though it's like she's revealed to be like really athletically gifted. Like she maxed out her she basically maxed out her stats in dexterity. Because remember when she took the snake devil like prisoner at the it's like at knife point, and Aki's basically saying like, "Wait, I thought you quit. Why are you still here?" She's like, "Well, we're supposed to get our bonuses soon, right?" That's Kobeni right there, and she's basically just yeah, she really does exist to be the most put upon member of the series. It's like to the point where like it probably isn't a surprise to say that she lives through like this whole experience, but it's like she lives through it in a way that she's going to be thoroughly traumatized as a result of it. But it's really quality dark humor right there, and I love it, especially when well later on when she's forced to do DDR to save her life and all. Yeah, but the whole like Doll Devil arc, I guess you could call it. Yeah, it's like it definitely had its high points, but also had kind of its low points. Because like I think that like when everyone is thrown into hell at a certain point, Fujimoto's like depiction of hell it's probably more esoteric than actually scary. Like they got the doors, you got the half like the bisected astronauts, and the characters who like lose their arms at the hand of the at the Hell Devil. I mean, were you scared by that, Steve? Because
Well, I mean, no, but I how do you draw a thing that is like how do you draw a thing that is hell that is universally scary to everybody, right? I mean, I'm willing to give him a pass here. I mean, hell's different for everybody, right? He's got to go, but he's got to give some sort of interpretation of it for the sake of the plot, and he just moves on from there.
yeah, I mean that's fair. It's like, and I will say that the resolution of this arc is thoroughly dumb in the sense that dumb in the way the series like I like in the way I like for the series, which involves like Denji setting himself on fire in order to counteract the like the darkness devil's like effects. It's like, and like that was I mean that was fun. It's like just saying like him like, oh yeah, it's like face my light, that kind of thing, and also how the adult level is finally dealt with, which it's a kind of strange that I really respect because it's like there's this one character in this arc, it's like what I forgot the Quan Chi, the like this Chinese spike devil who she's got all these other like like fiends like who are her lovers, and one of them is the like the chaos devil who basically says Halloween as her thing, and you think like, okay, well that's a thing and all, but it's like but like when it's finally revealed that like what the chaos devil actually does, it's like and how she basically like imposes like the like the entire knowledge of a thing like in her head. It's like, oh, it's it's kind of great, like when she says like when she realizes that she's basically going to impose all the knowledge of the universe onto the doll devil, and that basically it turns out everyone like that the doll is possessing, like it's like, oh, you're just going to say Halloween and all. That was pretty great and kind of messed up as well.
Yeah, it's very on brand for the series.
Yeah, and I guess it's also probably worth mentioning that like we don't want to miss talking about Kishibe, who is the mentor type for the series, right?
Yeah, he's I forget when it is exactly, but he and he starts training Denji
and
in power. Yeah, they have a training montage, and it's just in time for whatever their next battle is.
Yeah, for the whole it's like for the whole doll devil arc. But he basically he's the guy who just like when he meets him, he takes him in his arms, like gives him a nice hug. He's like, yeah, it's like nice to meet you all, and then he just snaps both of their necks in his arm because it's like, hey, it's like he just knows how to. He's someone who's like been doing this for a while, and he realizes that, hey, it's like I think that it's like if I'm working with toys this time, it's like then I'm not going to be like like at a loss when they die, because I've been doing this for a while and everyone I've trained has died. So, and he's also the guy who basically says that, oh, he knows he's the one who believes that Makima is up to no good, and he tries to set aside with Quan Chi, and she basically says to take her chances, and it turns out badly for her. So, but also like the whole like Gun Devil thing, who is basically like essentially like the series' big bad. Well, he's not really the series' big bad. He's just basically kind of a thing that needs to be solved. Like once like I guess it also like bears to mention that Aki is probably the most tragic character in the series, in the sense that he he kind of loses everything over the course of the series. I mean, he loses his best friend. It's like he loses his arm, he loses his devil. It's like, and things just keep getting worse and worse for him. Like up until like the point where he goes out to goes to a trip up north to hang out with to pay respects to his parents' grave, because they were killed by the Gun Devil, and him fighting against the Gun Devil is supposed to be like the big thing. Like him, just taking out like the Gun Devil is supposed to be like his big goal for the series. But when he does that, like he brings Power and Denji along, and they're just being such brats that they just like distract from him. And I think that's kind of fun when he says that. It's like I was gonna be like brooding over this stuff while I was up here, but no, you two, you're just such dicks that it's like I was able to like avoid that. And Denji's like, yeah, thanks, I think. So yeah, it's like you get where he's going with Aki, but at the same time, it's like Fujimoto basically realizes that hey, that when you've accrued that kind of sympathy for a character, well, it's not going to end well. It's like, because basically Aki wants to have Power and Denji avoid fighting and dying at the hands of the Gun Devil, because he also winds up contracting with the Future Devil, and the Future Devil basically shows him this horrible future where Power and Denji die. It's like, and he wants to like avoid that, and he does. He avoids that, doesn't he, Steve? He totally avoids that.
Well, I mean, he did the best he could with what he had, and he I forget the circumstances, but this is a character that this is the sort of character that you kind of see live to the end of a typical Shonen Jump series, right? And as you just said, Jason, like he goes through a lot. He's had a lot of tragedy, in his backstory up till his introduction. He continues to suffer tragedy throughout the series, and to cap it all off, I forget the exact circumstances, but he becomes the Gun Devil.
Basically, Makima like contracts him as part of the devils that she's using to fight off the Gun Devil, but then the Gun Devil basically takes them all out, and Gun Devil basically jumps into Aki's body to become the Gun Fiend.
And Denji is forced to kill him too.
Yeah, in a tragic snowball fight to the death.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it really is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, I think that, yeah, because like it's just, yeah, it is really messed up, because like you expect like the big fight between them, but Fujimoto finds a way to like portray this in a way that like it's basically like what you expect, but also just not quite the same as well. It's like, and it's just basically really tragic at the same time. It basically leads into the fact that the final arc of the series, where the Gun Devil has been killed, but Denji is just depressed because he basically had to kill his friend. And Power, it's like she's just like traumatized from the fact that they were brought into hell, like, and had to come out of it. I mean, it leads to the fact that it leads to like the most chaste bathing scene I've probably ever seen in manga. You know?
Hey, it's expectation subversion is pretty much what this guy does.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's just really messed up when you realize that when Power like tells him, I want like I can't I can't go to the bathroom without you. It's like she's like fine. It's like you get this like scene where like you're just like they're just bathing together. It's like and like even Denji, like who's like like 15-year-old horniness embodied, just doesn't twig onto the fact that to the fact that he's like just like watching this naked girl. It's like until like the very end, and even then it's like he doesn't like take advantage of her, which is like really kind of impressive and responsible for him. But even then, like like this whole like depressed mode that he's in, like leads into like basically talking to Makima and saying like now that he's finally taken out the Gun Devil, like he can like get Makima to grant him his one wish, which like we all thought was gonna be like sex, but it turns out he's just like so depressed about all this that he's just like Makima, I just want you to just make all my decisions for me. I just don't want to think anymore. And she's like, okay, now go open the store.
She just fucking monkey paws him.
Yes. Because like, behind that door is Power. And Makima just kills her because, she's a control devil. And her ultimate goal here has been to just, take control of the Chainsaw Devil. Because the Chainsaw Devil has the ability that we've probably hinted at before to just not only eat devils, but also when he eats them, basically erases what they represent from the from the world itself. And I think this is like a kind of a reach exceeds grasp type thing that I kind of wished Fujimoto had gone into before, because when like she talks about this to a Kishibe as Denji is just like, going full bore murder heavy on her devils after he's been let loose. She says something like, "You remember the Nazis?" It's like, and Kishibe's like, "Nazis?" Like basically like it's implied that he's ate a whole bunch of like devils that represented like a lot of fears as well. And the idea is that Makima just wants to make the world a better place by eating these fears. And this is kind of a idea that sounds good in practice, but
Theory.
maybe in theory, but it's like when you it's like when you deal with it, it's like in practice. It's kind of you're wondering like, well, what kind of what do we have to worry about like if we've eaten all these fears? And this is when Denji has gone to full chainsaw man mode, and like is basically like tormenting Kobeni, like who's gone to work for a burger joint at this point. It's like, and like she forces her to go like full DDR, and it's like it's really great like black, really dark comedy here. But the 10th volume ended with Makima trying to attempt to use her devils to like bring Denji to heel. And then we get to the final volume where she's just about to like pull that off, only to reveal that Power is still alive and she's still in Denji's blood, and she's able to come back through Pochita's urging, because Pochita is still in Denji, like, but he's like his heart, and Pochita's like just wants like use what's left of Power to like save Denji. Now Power kind of does that, even though she also basically like offers like Denji up to Makima at one point. But I'm sure that was just misdirection, wasn't it, Steve?
To the very end, like even when she's ultimately helping Denji, she's still true to herself and her character, which, hey, I think it's pretty great.
Indeed, it's like I like what happened to her. It's like, and even though it's like she's essentially dead at the end at the end of the final volume, it's implied that there's going to be a way to bring her back. But at the same time, like Denji is able, she is able to bring Denji back to himself. But at the same time, it's like it's an existence that is basically, he can't be Chainsaw Man. It's like because otherwise, Makima is gonna find out who he is and not find out where he is and then come get him. Kobeni and Kishibe are basically there to help him out, but Denji basically realizes that no, it's like I want like all the great stuff to become that is part of being Chainsaw Man. I want the girls, the glory, everything. And Kishibe's like, well, okay, so what are you gonna do? And Denji's like, I got a plan. It's a plan. It is definitely a plan. It involves Denji getting luring a Makima to it's like to a big old graveyard site, and then doing his best to murder all the devils that she's brought in to take him down, and then taking him out, and then eventually taking him out to grab the Pochita from his chest. This obviously allow her to control Chainsaw Man and enact her plans at the end. Except it's not. This has basically been big old misdirection because in the previous volume we found out that hey, Denji can regenerate himself. It's like using Pochita, and it turns out that he was able to create a like a chainsaw out of blood, like out of Power's blood as the Blood Devil to like stymie like a Makima from taking her out because she thinks she's taking him out, but nope, she hasn't. And the Denji, being over there, hits her with this chainsaw and is able to stop her, which makes perfect sense, right? Right, Steve? I mean, you're gonna back me up on this, right?
Well, yeah, I mean they do explain it afterwards that it, and the explanation is really sad. Remember, like, um, when he's having his debrief with it's Kishibe, right, the
Yeah.
veteran hunter.
Mm-hmm.
When he's having his debrief with him after this climactic battle, Kishibe asks him, "Hey, this why didn't she notice you, right?" And so it's at this point that Pocha has been divorced from Denji's body at this point in the fight, and Denji just sort of strolls up and murderizes like Makima, and he asks how didn't she notice you, and Denji says, I think she was always only ever looking at the chainsaw devil in me. She never saw me and she never recognized me.
It
So
was the smell that she said.
yeah, it was a scent, right? And so, after Pochita had, had been torn from him, right, as part of his master plan, he was essentially invisible to her and just was allowed to just walk up and murderize her. And it's a very sad moment. I mean, it ultimately lets him win this fight, but it's a very sad moment when Makima never saw him at all, right? He never had a chance with her ever. um and he just accepts that as he's telling Kishibe about how the fight went down. And I was like, man, even at the end of this, like he just can't catch a break.
Yeah, he can't catch a break, but at the same time, he knew that, and he was able to use it to his advantage in the end. And it's like, I mean, that's on one hand, that's thoroughly depressing, but at the same time, it's like he was still able to make it work and and win in the end. And like that makes it less depressing. It's like in my opinion. It's like, and even then and then it leads into like the final part where it's like, hey, cannibalism, because he's not going to defeat her. He's just going to absorb her, which is ultimately what she wanted in the end.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It's a pretty fucked up end. um I mean, it's a final resolution to to a character that like Makima, like I forget what exactly it was. She couldn't be attacked, was it? I forget what exactly her deal was.
Yeah, I think it was just like yeah, it's like I think it was like she couldn't like she couldn't be attacked, like that she would just be able to regenerate to like regenerate herself, but because I think because like Denji was unknowingly, at least, like he it's like he leaned into what she wanted. It's like it wasn't an offensive attack, even if he was just eating her remains in various forms, like was it tonkatsu, sashimi, sushi, even her hair at some point, but like
Yeah,
that.
it's he I think he explains it away by saying, well, this isn't really me hating on her. Like, this is still me trying to, this is still me trying to become one with her in some way, right? And
Hmm.
so he's just munching away, and turns out, hey, this is how you this is how you defeat an immortal demon in the end.
Yeah, except it's not really. It's how you defeat the point of view of an immortal demon, because the demon is still there in the end. She's just like in a new, like like clean
Ah,
form
yes, that's
here.
right. That's right. The devil returned. The devil returned, but not as Makima.
She
And
bit his finger, and he was like, "I know this bite." It's like, oh my god! It's like, what is she? It's like, and Kishibe's like, oh, I poached her from China. So
yeah, so it's Kishibe's hope that he'll as devils are never actually die. They do just the
keep
the
getting reborn.
yeah, they keep getting
Yeah, it's
reborn.
like they're reborn in hell, and they're also reborn on Earth as well.
And yeah, it's as Kishibe says, he's like, hey, you know what, take care of her, raise her, and hopefully she won't turn out like Makima again.
Yeah, and I gotta admit that's kind of like a pretty good point to end the series on, because I mean, like, yeah, the series is basically like the final part of the series like says in part one public safety arc, just kind of like okay, so yeah, it's like but at the same time you get the feeling like oh that Fujimoto was just kind of like, oh man, it's like, so I did a Jump series, great man, it's like I need a break now, I really need a break. Yeah, and it's like, and then the next arc is basically supposed to be like I think like the like the school arc. So we were told at the end that he's now in high school. So basically, it's like you've got like Big Brother Chainsaw Man going to high school, like interacting with the kids for the first time, and also having to be like Big Brother to the Control Devil now, which you know yeah, if I recall, Steve, I mean, like you love it when like a series that goes like into a full like high school arc, like dealing with like all like high school stuff, like and all.
Well, normally I do. Normally I really hate that sort of thing, but you know what? I'm gonna trust Fujimoto to you know to once again break expectations and deliver something interesting.
Yeah, it's like, and to be honest, like I was kind of wondering if like this was actually going to happen, because this series wrapped up in 2020, and you kind of figure that, oh well, okay, it's like he's just gonna need a month or two break, before he just dives right into like the next arc. But no, that's not what he did. In fact, he's basically like he's only gonna start the school arc like this month on Shonen Jump Plus, which basically means he's going to the he's not going to be doing the weekly grind. It sounds like he's going to like the he's going to the digital wing of this of the site, which is where we get stuff like Kaiju number 8 from. So, but I do want to briefly mention that that in the intervening years since he stopped Chainsaw Man, he's actually put out a couple really good one shots. In fact, longtime listeners will know that hey, I really liked Look Back, which was my favorite title of it's like of 2021, and I'm absolutely looking forward to picking it up in print form when it comes out in September. But also, he did like another one shot earlier this year called Goodbye Eri, which takes a look at what happens when like a kid who's like forced to document his mother's life, the end of his mother's life, also decides to like incorporate a bunch of explosions into that story, and also meets up with the vampire, which it's like you hear that and you think like, wow man, that sounds like a thing that happened. But this is the guy who managed to wrench like some sympathy and empathy about a kid who just could generate chainsaws from his limbs, and with Goodbye Eri, it's like he manages to wrench some sympathy, from the whole cool guys don't look at explosions bit. So yeah, it's I kind of wish that I'm not gonna have to wait a year to get that in print, but it's like but until it was announced that Fujimoto is coming back next month with with the next part of Chainsaw Man, I would have been perfectly fine with him just doing one shots like this in Jump on a yearly basis. I mean, Steve, how do you feel about that?
You know what? I'd like him to release things sooner, but and more quickly. But he's going to operate on his own schedule. Like much as we may want it to be otherwise, we're just gonna have to content ourselves with being happy with whatever he releases and whenever he does it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm glad that he's continuing to release manga, whether it's these exercise one shots, these volume size one shots, or just him continuing Chainsaw Man, which I think I think both of us are looking forward to it. I mean, yes, there's some awkwardness, some inconsistencies with Chainsaw Man, but it's like I think that has the mainstream has decided that hey, Chainsaw Man is incredibly awesome, and while I think it would be one thing for us to be iconoclast and say, oh no, man, this it's like this new thing that the mainstream has put out. Oh, it's not cool, man. Nope, Chainsaw Man is definitely cool. It's definitely inspiring, and if you're it's a kind of series that it's like your parents definitely wouldn't want you to read, but you should definitely read it anyway, especially if you're still in touch with your inner 15-year-old.
Yeah, like whatever you're doing, drop it and go read some Chainsaw Man. That's my thought.
Yeah, and then go read Fire Punch because it's kind of fucked up in a more extreme way too.
Yes, it sure is. I'll understand if you don't want to read it though. Look, I like it. It makes me feel things, but it could definitely be uncomfortable for some people, I think. Well,
Yeah,
more
I mean
so than Chainsaw Man, I think.
Yeah, I mean
Ew.
that first volume is kind of like a get the fuck out if I ever heard it. But
Yeah, I'm
John,
not
you've
reading
got thoughts on it.
Ew. Cannibalism, ew. Like that was weird, man. I don't know. So I don't know. Yeah, so that's
It's
my
not for
thought.
everybody.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that there's not a lot that would really gross me out, but that actually does. So, yeah, probably a pass for me, just based upon that kind of content. So,
Yeah, but Chainsaw Man, less cannibalism, more for everyone as a result.
yay. Cool. All right. So, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time, Jason?
Oh man, it's like it could be Powers, it could be my Breaking Case of Emergency podcast on Sweet Tooth. I may need to rope in Myron and Rob to talk about No One Left to Fight again. But it could. I've got plans. It's like I just not 100% sure about them as well. But at this point, Steve, thanks for joining us again.
Of
And
course.
absolutely, man. It's like always look forward to having your thoughts on this. And hey, you heard that Kaguya-sama is wrapping up in volume 28. Or what is it? Volume 20. Yeah, it's volume 28.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it's so. I mean, it's like, I'm sure you've got thoughts about that.
I do. I mean, but you know what? This should be shared at another time.
Yeah. So it's like, it's yeah. So it's once. I'll definitely want to have you back to talk about that, and maybe we'll find something to talk about in the meantime before then. But we shall see.
Sure.
All right. So on that note, goodbye everyone, and talk to you later.
See ya.